Interior Design at GSA. Vectorworks. Overview. Part A. Drawing 3D.
What I'm going to show you now is a quick overview using Vectorworks, starting with a blank document and ending up with a simple room set. So you'll end up with something looking a little bit like this. Floor object, 4 walls, a chair, a roof and some lighting. So first of all we need to create a new document. So File, New, blank document, and then we need to go File, Document Settings, Document Setup. We're going to keep it in millimeters, change the scale to 1 to 100 and leave the rest as it is for now. Click OK. So first things first, I'm going to draw a floor object. I'm going to make that 8 meters square and position it in the center of the drawing. And I'm going to turn that into a 3D object straight away. So my object info palette tells me I've got an 8 meter by 8 meter rectangle. So I'm going to go to model and extrude it 200 millimeters, and that makes it a 3D object. Now it doesn't look very different on the screen, but the object info palette tells us an extrude, and instead of looking at the drawing in top plan, if we look at it in right isometric, we see that we've now got a 3D object. I'm going to go back to top plan, keyboard shortcut Apple and 5, and I'm going to draw a series of walls. So this time I'm going to make them, let's say, 5 meters by 4 meters, but 4.5 meters. Click OK. And I want to give that a little bit of a colour so we can just see that as a different object. And I'm going to make a new shape inside that, 200 mil smaller, with the offset tool, like so. And then with the 2D select tool, selecting both objects to modify and clip surface. That allows me to delete the center shape, and now I've got an object which will be the start of my walls. So again, quick look at that in 3D, right isometric. Now the floor is extruded as a 3D object. The walls at the moment are still 2D, so they need to be extruded. So it's important to make sure that you extrude for the right view. So I'm going to go back to top plan, model and extrude, and I'm going to extrude those up 4 meters. So now when we look at it in the right isometric, we see that we've got both extruded as 3D objects. I'm going to go to a front view, and you'll see here that we've got the floor and the wall objects both starting at the 0 line. And what I want to do is move the floor object up so that it sits on top of the wall object up so it sits on top of the floor, like so. There we go. So OpenGL Render is an interactive render that allows us to use the flyover tool and move around the object that we've made. So next what I want to do is give us a way of getting into that space. So I'm going to draw an object 1 meter wide by 200 mil, and I'm just going to position that next mouse click and then drop that onto a wall object like so. And I'm going to extrude this 2.2 meters. I'm going to go to the front view, and again that's just sat on the 0 line, so I need to move that up to the right height. I'm just a bit too far away from that, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Show it that space, and then let go like so. And I'll go to the right isometric because I find it easier to do that in an isometric view. Select both objects, model, subtract solids, OK, and now we've got a way of getting into the room. I also quite fancy a window. I'm going to put a corner window in, so I'm going to make a shape here, and I'm going to extrude that 1 meter, and I'm going to go to a front view and move that up. What I actually quite want to do is line that up with the top of the door, like so. Again, we'll go to a left isometric this time, but an isometric view. Click on the wall object, model, and subtract solids. Click OK, and then again we've now got a slot window cut into that space. Put a ceiling onto this, so using the walls as the guide, draw a rectangle, extrude 200, and again view front, and nudge that, place that up on the top of the object like so. And again, I quite fancy some sort of skylight in this space, so I'm going to just draw myself a circle about here. Fancy that, yeah, 900 is good. I'm going to extrude that 200mm again. Going to go back to the front view and move that up, grabbing corner, showing computer corner, and away we go. Right isometric again, shift click the roof object, model, and subtract solids. So now what we have is a 3D selection of 3D objects, which we can navigate around with the OpenGL render. And okay, bit of furniture into there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to browse a document in the resource browser, and I'm going to go to Vectorworks 2009, libraries, objects, building, structure and interior, and I think we'll look at furniture. Let's have a look at residential. Open. So the resource browser then gives us a collection of sort of ready-made bits of furniture. Just a dining chair for now. I'm going to go back into plan and double click on that tool and just click it into my drawing, then use the rotate tool just to rotate that into the room, and then make sure I'm looking in front view, and again place that on the floor. So now what we need to do, have a look at that in Final Quality Renderworks, and that kind of looks okay, but it would be good to add some colour and some lighting to this. So